welcome back to my channel. It's New Views here. And today my guest is Behi. I think she's just having some tea right now. So I actually recently connected with Behi. We are both in a community called Tomorrow Today that's based out of Toronto, but it's like a wellness spiritual retreat that we were going to go to this year, end of April, but currently, well, it's still happening. It's virtual. It's going to be virtual now, but anyways, Behi joined the community recently and we connected there. But this is actually the first time we're really connecting and speaking to each other as well. So I'm super excited to do this. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? I would love to learn more about you as well.
Sure. Hi, everyone. This is Behi. Thanks for having me. Of course, it's exciting. We did meet through the Tomorrow Today community. It's amazing. It's kind of 2020 was the year for me that I wanted to kind of invest in self-love and self-care, and that's how I came across the community. A little bit about me. I live in downtown Toronto. I'm in real estate. I am loving it. I have great clients. We work with like people from all over the world. It's just so exciting. And now I just got more time on my hand because of the outbreak, and we have to be super careful when we go out with people, and we're actually told not to do it for the next 2 weeks. So that's why like I'm here sitting and I'm getting the most out of it, like enjoying every second I got.
For sure, for sure. I was gonna ask, like, how did you become spiritual? What's your story behind that?
It's a lot of things, of course. I always like wondered more than the information I had. You know, I wanted to know more. I wanted to dig in. Like I wouldn't be easily like convinced.
Right.
I lost my sister last year through an accident. And she has 2 kids. That's okay, thank you. And she was very young, 42 years old. Lovely, healthy person. All of a sudden, we just got a call that, you know, you have to come home. I'm from Iran, so we had to go back to Iran. And just 2 little kids, 10 and 11. We managed it well, but it was a big shock to all of us. Like, I also had an older brother. It was me, him, and my mom. And like, I couldn't believe this. And then after I lost her, I started thinking that it can't just be it, you know, like you can't just be like, this is it. So the only thing I could think of to convince me was, well, that's a deeper conversation, but like that's the beginning of how I started like saying that can't be just it. Like they got to be something else. They got to be something beyond this life that we live in. So I started like reading more, asking more questions, and talking to more people.
That's amazing. Yeah, honestly, I feel like a lot of people, that the reason why I asked too is because probably not for everyone, but I do feel like a lot of people do wake up and open their eyes to spirituality after going through something. Like it triggers from that. So that's I have a similar story that's pretty much what happened to me too, where it sparks you to think of like, what is the meaning of all of this, and is there more beyond this? And that's kind of where I got to too. But it's funny because like the more I reflect about it, the more I realize that yes, like it was these 2 years that triggered me to really dive deep into this. But I feel like a part of me was I've always kind of known that this was going to be my path in some way, because like when I start to reflect on it, I start to really look back way into my childhood. And then I realize there's so many memories I've had that is connected to who I am now. So for example, like when I was a kid, I remember I used to question death a lot. Sounds really like heavy and morbid, but my biggest fear was to die. My biggest fear was to die and then just be nothing. Like nothing happens after that. So same with you, you know, questioning like, is there anything after beyond this life? And I remember that was a fear that terrified me. And then I think because of that, when I was young, I used to go to church sometimes. So I remember going to like Bible studies, and there would be like a pastor there, and I would literally grill him and be like, okay, tell me the answer to this and this and this and this. And then even though he gave me answers, I still didn't feel like I was
convinced.
Yeah, I wasn't convinced. And then, so I remember that, like, very in great detail. I remember those moments. But then as I got older, for a while, I just didn't really believe in any religions. And I was always like, I guess, spiritual at heart, but I didn't really think about spirituality either. But then it wasn't until these 2 years where I really started to dive deep. But then I realized, oh my gosh, like, first thing, like, something else that's interesting is I realized that my fear at the time when I was a kid, you would think that your fears, you know, now that I'm an adult and I became spiritual, I thought, okay, you know, I'm spiritual now, so that fear is gone. Like, you know, I'm good now. But then I realized, especially now during quarantine, in the past 2 weeks, I feel like your fears never really go away. It just evolves, and then you become better at dealing with them. And if you are spiritual, you realize that you have to just let it go, and just, you have to have faith. Like, regardless of whether you're spiritual or religious, it's all about, like, faith, right, in the end. And I feel like there is a greater power, but you need to be able to trust and not force or seek forcefully for answers. Because again, like, the past 2 weeks, we're all at home, I'm doing a lot of self-reflecting, and I realized that, to be honest, like, that fear is still there, but I do believe. And obviously now going through all of these experiences, I know there's something more out there, but I can't force to have that answer. I can't force to, like, be able to know the answer indefinitely, because that's not how the world works, right? So,
yeah,
I don't
definitely.
know. Like, I don't know if you resonate with that, but that's kind of like,
yeah.
For you, you mentioned that you also had questions and were seeking that out. So do you think that, you know, how has that journey gone for you? Have you had your questions answered, or did it evolve, or how did that happen for you?
So you mentioned childhood, and it's funny because, so we're essentially Muslim. Like, I was raised in Iran, and in school and in public, everybody do practice the laws, the rules, the Islamic rules, like covering their heads and praying when we need to pray and stuff. Like, in school, we were, if you were like the morning shift, you had to like do the prayer for the afternoon before going home and things like that. Where my home was completely different. My dad was a Buddhist, like, he was meditating 5-10 times a day. He would practice meditation 7-8 hours a day. And I could see this conflict. Like, I could see, like, and he wouldn't force me to believe in anything or accept anything. He wanted me to ask questions. Like, he brought me up in a very open-minded way, and I started asking questions from the wrong people, of course, because, like, in school, the people that we ask questions from are, of course, practicing Islam, so the answers they would give me would not necessarily be the answers. Or in our classes, I would ask, and they're like, oh, what's wrong with this girl? Like, let's call her parents and tell them, like, she's asking the weirdest questions. So yeah, I decided to practice Islam fully, just so that I can understand if this is truly the answer to all my questions. And I did it. Like, I literally covered my hair. I literally prayed 3 times a day. I literally didn't talk to any guys. Like, I was 12, I believe. And then, like, I did it fully. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, do you mind me asking, like, what some of your questions were that you were asking?
Yeah, for sure. So the existence of God, like, that was the biggest question for me. Like, is he here? If he does exist, how come I can't see him? How can I can't talk to him? My justification for that was, if there is a God, there's 2, and that's my parents, because they're the one who created me. Do you know? Like, that's how I used to think about it. And then I was like, can somebody come and convince me if there is a God? Like, you know, can somebody come and convince me why a kid is born in Africa poor with no food versus somebody is born in, like, the royal family? Like, can somebody explain this to me? Like, aren't we not told that we come to this world and our behaviors and our manners are later on will be counted and will be determined whether we go to hell or heaven? Like I wouldn't be convinced, right? Those were the early questions as a kid. Right. And then I lost a very important person to me. That was my grandfather when I was 8 years old. And I just couldn't understand. Like I could not understand death. Right. I was like, where did he go? Like, what's after this? Like, can we go see him? Like, what do you mean you can't see him ever? Do you know? And then if he's in heaven, and they would tell me he's in heaven, I'm like, okay, if he's in heaven, I want to go see him in heaven. Like, how do I go there? Do you know? Like, it was like I couldn't digest any of the information they were giving me. Like, none of them made any sense. So yeah, those were mainly my experiences. And then the conflict between the society and my home was kind of a big trigger for me to go after these questions, because I was kind of, my dad wanted me to know, my dad wanted me to learn. To this date, I kind of got the answers he gave me back in the days. Like, it takes time for you to understand certain things. Your brain isn't developed enough, or isn't trained enough, or you don't have the right skills to comprehend some information, and it does take time. Like, I wouldn't be able to be at the level I am today in terms of a spirituality when I was 20. There would be absolutely no way, right? So that's also a journey. That's also something in our journey we do need to understand. For sure. So yeah. So I hope it wasn't too long.
No, that was great. I mean, I'm always so interested to hear like other people that are spiritual, what their journey is and how did they get to this point now. So I love hearing about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, so I guess like what are, I mean, this is a pretty loaded question and it would probably be a pretty long answer, but go ahead if you have a long answer to answer it with. But what are your spiritual beliefs now, like on a high level?
What are they?
Yeah.
Well, it's not just one belief, I would say. There are multiple things that I believe in. Are you familiar with Rumi?
Yes, I love his quotes.
Okay.
And his teachings. Yes.
His teachings, right.
Yeah, I think I saw some of your posts quoting him too.
Yes. So I think he's the one that says it better than anybody else that I've listened to or I've talked to. And to him, you're the God. You're the creator. So the universe is all here, you know, like we spend all our life looking for spirituality, looking for existence of God, looking for answers, where it's all here. You can actually get to a level where you can have the answers without going anywhere, just through self-reflection, so just through self-care, self-love, kindness, good manners. And I do believe in the law of attraction. Like, when you're good, and when you do good, and when you do love, give love to those around you, you attract the positive energy, and automatically you're immune toward the negativity. Like, there's like this big red flag on top of some people's head that like automatically you're not talking to them, or you don't get involved with their lives. So you're kind of protected when you are moving toward that, I would say. To me, that's within me, that's inside me, and I'm a reflection of many other reflections in the world. And it's only through the unity and solidarity that we can all come together and be strong. I can't just be me and push and try to be powerful where my partner doesn't believe in that, where my best friend doesn't believe in that. So that's why we have to now be a community to convince others to kind of join us and to believe in us and to believe in themselves, not us, to believe in themselves so that they can have more power. And I think that's what most things in the Western society comes from: self-confidence, self-esteem. You know, why do you think people are depressed? Why do you think they're hopeless, helpless? Because they don't believe in their own abilities and their own skills. And this all comes from where you start believing in yourselves. When you start believing it, you're enough. What you've got enough, you just have to like build upon it. So this is all like the lessons of Rumi, and I do practice them. I try to practice them. I sometimes lose control. We're humans, right? It takes some time to be fully involved at all times, but that's what I believe.
I love it. And yeah, that's basically what I believe as well. I think you really hit it on the nail. But I think like one of the first things you mentioned, yeah, I feel like the universe. So for me, I've had some really crazy spiritual experiences through a combination of meditation, also psychedelics, and I've gotten some crazy messages on it. But I think like, so through those experiences, I still have questions because what I realized from those experiences is exactly what you said. We're all connected for sure. We all come from the same source. We have this one consciousness. I truly believe that. And it's all about love, like unity, love, and also self-love. Like it starts with yourself first before you're able to really go and help others. So I totally believe that. For me though, I do think like after going through so many experiences, and I think I kind of jumped the gun when I first started to become spiritual, I kind of just like, I tried to run before I walked. So I think I put myself in situations where I got some super intense messages and experiences, but maybe I wasn't really ready to absorb all of it first. So after going through that, I realized that, you know what? And I realized that you can reach a lot of the same enlightening states just through, you know, you don't need things like psychedelics, which I'm not like, I'm saying that is a great tool, like for people that really, you know, who I think really needs a Trump. Trump needs to be fed some like LSD, sure. Yeah, and then to look within. But anyways, I do think you can reach the same states with like meditation, for example. You're able to really silence your mind, or things like even like float tanks, or like everyone has their own way of just like really stilling the mind. When you're able to get to that point, all the answers come to you. But one crazy thing I still like, I always catch myself is like, because of those intense experiences, I feel like we're never going, I feel like I've touched the truth before, but the truth is way too complicated for our human minds to understand. Like, because everything is really a paradox. And everything is duality on this earth too. So I remember when I had those like epiphanies and experiences, it was more like, I had an epiphany, but then I realized that the opposite of that was also true. And it really like made my mind go like, how is this? So like one thing I realized that we're all connected, we're all one. But I also had this like weird sensation. I've like, it came to me multiple times where it's all is self too. Like we're all just me. And sometimes that freaks me out, because I don't know if you read like the story, The Egg, and heard other like concepts around this, but I also sometimes question like, what if everything in the universe, I'm just like kind of, it's in my illusion, like it's something that I'm creating, you know? And that kind of makes me feel really lonely, because I'm like, is that, but then I also had epiphanies where I realized that no, like I'm everything, like everyone is here, like we're all connected, we're all in this together. So I've had those experiences too. So I had these like really weird, like polarized experiences. So that is something that I'm still trying to surrender to again, have faith that, you know, it all will be okay and I don't need to question it too much. But I'm just wondering, like, based on what I just said, do you resonate with that? Or like, is that something that you've thought about before?
I totally understand what you say. And I do agree that when you dig in too much, you get certain messages that you should not. Like you're kind of not ready yet, you know? Like it's as if it's gonna like harm you in a very bad way, or it's gonna, I don't know, like you're not ready. Like I've gotten the message that I'm not ready before, kind of thing, through the practices I was doing. And two crazy things that happened to me when I was like digging too much. One is I get a lot of deja vus. I don't know.
Me too.
I've asked people, but they're like, no, what is that? Like, you know, like, what is deja vu? What do you mean? Like, I get a lot of deja vus. And then I know a very good medium that I talked to not long ago, and I told her about it. And she's like, because you have a very, because you're trying to connect with the universe and your soul is this and this, whatever definition they have, right?
Yeah.
And she tried to stop me. She tried to tell me like, don't go after too much. Like you can go crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the point that I was convinced that this thing is real. Like me, you know, like self-reflecting and like, you know, like understanding how the universe operates or whatever, and through the meditation and through my asks, and really putting something out there, I could actually like get it. Now that was something that I wanted to know about death, and I did it. And then now I do it in a more positive way. Like I do it when I want to achieve a mission, or I have a objective and I really want to get it, whether it was a school or it's career. I put all my energy and faith into that, and I always and I got it. Like I always did. Like there wasn't a time that I failed, and if I did fail, it was because I could do better, right? Job interviews, for example, you always say, why did I not get this job interview? And then you don't know what's in it for you until you get a better job. You're like, oh, I'm glad I didn't get that job, kind of thing, you know? Yeah. So yeah, no, definitely. You have to be careful really with these things.
For sure. Wasn't until recently where I really realized this. I had a few intense experiences, and then I told myself, I'm like, not that these experiences aren't great. And I also believe in divine timing. So even if we say like, oh, maybe this shouldn't have happened at this time, when you look back later, everything happened when it was supposed to. Even when
for a reason,
at the time might not happen. That was a message too, because if that didn't happen and you didn't realize that, oh, maybe I shouldn't have pushed myself so hard, then you wouldn't have learned from that. So I do believe in like divine timing, but through my recent experiences, I realized that, you know, those tools are great, but I want to really walk and really center and ground myself and, you know, be in this lifetime, this human experience that we're all gifted, and learn through that. So I think like one thing for me is I'm so like, I've said this like so many times in the past 2 weeks, but I really feel like this whole thing happening right now is a huge message for us. Like, like there's a bigger message here, and I really hope everyone, we don't know how long this is going to be. So I'm hoping that like, even if some people the first week or two, they just like did nothing, hopefully they're going to wake up and realize that this is a great time for self-reflection. Love yourself, but work on yourself, and then start thinking about what we can do to help each other and this earth that we live in. Because I feel like a big message here is, you know, we have to do better. We have to change for the better and realize that we are all connected. So for me, I'm really reflecting on a lot of things like this now too. But the other thing is like, this has really made me appreciate my human life. Like, I think similar to you, when I reflect back on my life, I spent so much time questioning about my questions, or about the future, or about like things that like doesn't even really matter, because I'm here on this earth now. So I should just live in the present moment and like soak it all in, right? So what I realize is, I think like after coming out of this, I'm still gonna be spiritual. I'm still gonna, I think like instead of maybe like forcefully seeking for answers, it's more like dancing with spirituality, just like, you know, absorbing, but also letting things be. It's all okay. But one thing I'm just like really opening my eyes to, I'm like, I don't want to just like be at home or like question people or like question things. I want to go explore, you know, like I really want to go see the pyramids, and I really want to like just go around the world and soak it all in and learn from like, you know, monks. And then I want to learn about every religion, because to me, I think it's all connected. And I do think there's truth in every religion. It's all connected. There's all a meaning for everything. So I want to learn about everything. And like this life that we are given and this world that we're given, like this is a gift. Like everything is such a gift. And I'm just realizing it all now. And I'm hoping that everyone else is realizing this too, and we can build a better tomorrow.
Better tomorrow, that's for sure. We're taking a lot of things for granted here, and I think this was Mother Earth message to us. Like, you know, we're not treating what we're given the way we should. You know, and like it's just not. We're moving toward that path for sure. We're lucky we live in Canada, and you know, people here are more mindful of their lifestyles compared to, you know, other countries. But still, I don't think we're doing enough. And I think that's true. And also living at the present moment is what's very important. And that's when I lost my sister, that's what I learned the hard way. Because how do you know you're going to walk out and come back? Do you know? How do you know you're going to sleep and wake up again? How do you know you're going to go to a party and make it back? So we have to be grateful for everything we have, for today, for right now, for people in our lives. So we should not be like thinking of tomorrow to change things. If we're not happy about something, we have to change it today, right now, right here. If we need to learn, we have to learn right now, right here, and take every opportunity we can to do so. Otherwise, we have no right to complain, I say. Because there's no guarantee in the next second, in the next minute, in the next hour. But what's guaranteed and it's given to you is right now. So you have to do something with it.
I love that. And I 100% agree. I guess, so this is something that I have been thinking about the past few days specifically, like the more that this situation unfolds and the more we're seeing now the state of the world, you know, obviously I think this is a reset button, but there's a lot of issues now, right? Like people are laid off, like everything's shut down. The government's trying to figure out what to do. Like it's crazy times right now, right? So I think for me, just like what you said, I'm like, okay, yes, I think the first thing I've been trying to do every day is really work on myself, like improve all the habits I want to improve, because it starts with you first, right? And if I want to be able to help the world, I need to be strong and healthy. So that is something I'm doing. But then now I'm thinking, okay, you know, I preach about this and I blog about this, but how can I actually now like try to contribute to the society and actually make change? So that, you know, I don't actually have an answer for this now yet, but I'm starting to think about it now. So, I mean, like, have you thought about it? I think this is something like great to talk to people about, because yeah, we're all sitting here knowing that we need to change things, but what can we actually do now to help, you know, catalyze that? And I think it's like, it can definitely start with 1 or 2 people and grow, but still, like, what are ideas and steps that we can take to make a change? Have you thought about that at all?
It's not that I thought about it. Like I try to always be an example for people around me.
Right.
That's how I believe I make some great changes. Or same thing, like if I want to learn something from someone else, then I definitely have a friend that I use as an example, and I try to kind of, you know, mimic the same behaviors and whatever. So I think we don't have to really change the world. We have to just start by changing ourselves, and there's so much to do there, and just, you know, hope that others around you do see it and do try to also change, because it's a mindset. Not everybody is ready to adapt to that mindset. It's like eating healthy. It's like exercising. You know, you have to accept a certain mindset, a certain lifestyle in order to be able to do it. Like first accept it and then do it. Where it says it is what it is, you have to do it, this is better for you. You know, like, no. What does it take for every single individual to get to that mindset?
Right.
You know, it's different for everybody. One needs motivation. One needs learning, education. One needs, you know, maybe just changing their habits. So it's just, I don't look at it as how do I change the world. I look at it as how do I first help myself and then help people around me. Then hopefully they're going to help people around them, and that's just going to circulate back to the universe. That's how I think about it.
Yeah, no, that was the best answer ever, because I think after I asked that, I realized that was such a like open-ended question that I think a lot of normal people will try to think about and then get frustrated, because they'll be like, I can't change the world myself. Like, what do I do? But you're right. Your exact answer, that's actually what I think about too. I feel like, again, going back to like making sure you're working on yourself, especially like when people are not watching. Because first of all, I also believe that I truly believe everything has consciousness. And even if we don't think that people, we're at home and we're doing things, it doesn't matter. It does matter. I think everything we do matter. So if you're able to create, be like, make yourself better, make yourself take the right actions in your everyday life, be that example. I think you're absolutely right. Like the way to change things is the more you're aligned with yourself and thinking of the good for yourself and the world, the more you're going to express that, and the people around you will see it, and that's going to inspire them to do that, and then that's just going to flow and grow, right? So I totally think that's the way to go about it. That's the way to think it. And for me, I forget about it sometimes too. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is it enough? Like what I'm doing? Like what else can I do? Like how can I save this earth? But I think you're totally right. That's the right way to think about it for sure. So
yeah, no, you're saving Earth every day. Trust me, you're doing your part. Everybody should do their part, and we're trying. We're not the politicians or like those big decision makers who shouldn't be making those decisions. We're just like little people here minding our own business, trying to be mindful of what we do and how we respect what we're given, the space we're given, our share. I think you shouldn't worry too much about that part.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think so too. So as long as, and I have, like, even myself, the past 2 weeks, I've had so many realizations, I think especially to do with the natural earth. I think for me for a long time, because I still love the big city. That's why I moved to Toronto. I like living like an urban lifestyle, but I think it's all about balance. Like you can do that, but don't forget about this earth that we were given. And I think for a long time, I was just ignorant. I didn't really care that much about nature, or not that I don't care, but I think it was, again, going back to like, you think you won't make a difference. So if you don't care, it's probably okay. But then I realized that no, I need to care. Like it does matter. Like if I care and if I'm more conscious about it, it will somehow spread. So now I'm like, so, I want to just like go outside and like hug a tree and be like, I love you, Earth, do what I can.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Seriously.
No, I hear you. Definitely. That's as the moment we start caring, that's when everything starts to get into its place. Because yes, a lot of people's attitude is, I don't care. I'm not going to live the next 40 years. Like, why do I care? Why do I recycle? Why do I do this? Why do I do that? But like, it's about now, and it's the impact the impact you're having on this right now, right here, that makes the difference. Not 40 years. The impact will be worse, but right now it matters.
Yes, I love that. That's so great. And I do want to end on a very positive note. And I think another big thing that I try to think of every day, and you must know this, like it helps so much with manifestation and visualization, is gratitude, right?
Yes.
So I was hoping we can each share one thing to end this off about what we're really grateful for right now. Would you like to start?
Yes, no, absolutely. I do it actually every day. So every day when I wake up, I'm grateful that I'm here and I'm giving another chance to live my life the way I want or the way I should. So that's just my everyday morning gratitude. And at night, I would mostly, it changes, it varies based on my accomplishments throughout the day, but mostly it's like, thank you for this opportunity, and I really appreciate, that everything went well. Yes, I failed here, or yes, I did well there, but whatever it was, it's over. Tomorrow is another day. I try to be better. So that's how I usually end my day.
I love that. I think for me, similar. I'm going to just bring it more to the present situation, since a lot of people are struggling with it. But for me, I struggle with it too. I literally go through like a billion emotions a day. But I am actually grateful. Like, this is the first time in so long where I really am able to face myself and really work on my habits. So I'm in such a controlled environment where I can just do so much and I have no excuses. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity now to work on so many things that I used to put off. And now I just feel like it's all condensed, but I'm able to just work on it all at once. And I feel myself just getting, healthier and stronger. So I'm grateful for this opportunity. So that's great. I love yours too. Thank you again so much for joining me today. Of course. We can do this again soon. Like, again, we don't know how long this is going to last.
Anytime. Just give me a shout.
Yeah. Thank you, Behi. Thank you guys for watching today. And remember, stay true to you, from new to you. Okay. Bye, guys. See you guys next time.